Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dreamhack Summer 2011 in a shocking twist. Bomber and July will not be in the grand finals. Instead, they are duking it out for fourth place. And in 2.5 hours, we'll see that grand final of Huck versus Moon. But who will take home that third place prize money?
I don't know. It's going to be a tough one for sure. But I feel after watching that series recently just with Bomber, I think Bomber will take that. If my predictions were going anywhere, it would be with Bomber. And is July strong enough to take that bronze medal, though? A lot of money, a lot of pride on the line here.
Yeah, it's important to note that the reason Bomber ended up backfiring in that second game is he got a little bit too cute with himself. He went for the extremely fast 2 factory, and then instead of going Blue Flame Hellion, began massing up those tanks, but unfortunately just marched them straight in and lost almost everything immediately, and Moon with a surprise Roach drop, allowing him to get into the finals. But will July be able to pull the same miracle?
Yeah, I think that last game was so close. Unfortunately, Bomber running into that kind of 2-base all-in, you could say. I mean, he cut production of Economy after that and was just going solely for that Roach build no matter what Bomber did. And then Bomber throwing away all those units. I'm sure he was disappointed in himself. And he's got a lot to regain now in this best of 3, I think this one is as well, isn't it?
That is true. And if you watch the July versus Huck games, that was Huck just overpowering July with extremely strong decision-making. July now will have to try to pull back and get that third place spot. We've seen him do it before in tournament and tournament again, but he's up against Bomber, the Code A champion. It looks like both players are in the game. Going to get the final confirmation from July that he is ready. Bomber says go, July says go. So let's get started with the second last series of the day. The fourth place match between StarTails Bomber and StarTail July. Cannot overemphasize the fact that these two are teammates, D'Apollo.
Indeed, they are teammates. They know each other's style in and out. And the first map is going to be on Crossfire. There's going to be a lot of mind games going on for sure, because like we said, they do know each other's style. Let's see what they deviate in this game.
Bomber going to open up with a very delayed game loading screen. Let's see if he can transition into sending his workers to mine. And there it is, game 1 between the two Korean superstars, shockingly here in the fourth place match. In the top right corner, we have the man that showed amazing skill to knock OGS MC out. And if you would like to see him knock out yet another Korean, give a cheer for StarTails Bomber! And in the bottom left, the man known as the God of War, one of the most aggressive Zerg players in the history of esports. It is StarTails July.
And July not having played against a Terran player since the group stages has been a while now. Went through Mana first of all, then into Sen, and now, did lose versus Huck, but now is ready for this game here. And we'll have to see how both players open up their style. Will it be a defensive opening from July, getting that extractor or spawning pool first, or will he be brave enough to go ahead and get that fast expansion? Though this map 2 Rex is kind of common here, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did not open for that first hatchery.
Yeah, July looks like has not made a decision yet. No, indeed, there he is going for the extractor first. 1 barracks is down, and just as you predicted, D'Apollo almost certainly going to see a 2 racks play begin right now. We'll be building that second barracks right next to the other one. This is also a very good anti-baneling wall off. Or Bomber might just go for an early expand and make me look like an idiot. Either way, oh no, it looks like he is instead going to be sneaking off to the right side, building it a little bit off skew, but still close enough that he can return back for a wall in.
And this is a weird placement, to be honest. If you look at the vision of the Overlord moving through the middle of the map, he is going to go and scout this barracks immediately, which is questionable from Bomber to place it here. Maybe not used to the scouting pattern of July, but I think the reason for this is that, well, I don't even know. I mean, this is kind of maybe a mistake, maybe not. Maybe he wants to show it.
I mean, July's going to be able to respond fairly easily. And interestingly, a big reason that you can't go for a lot of early roaches against a 2 racks play is because of the wall-in at the top of the ramp. But interestingly, if July just decides to straight build roaches, he can easily crush this front wall-in unless Bomber does some extreme changes. And Bomber looks like he's starting to work away at that Overlord. If he killed that off, that would be a huge loss for July early on.
It looks like it will be able to survive, though. And July actually made a mistake at the early stage of this game. Only had 2 in gas for a long time, and the speed was a little bit delayed here. But that Overlord did manage to escape. And I think the best way for Bomber to play here is to fall back, expand, or as we can see, adding on 2 refineries before an expansion in a very unique style.
He got 2 fast barracks and made a Marine out of each one, and then stopped. And now it looks like he's mining the very fast double gas. This is an unusual play, and it looks like he will be going. Oh my gosh! He walks right in, sees the command center go down, doesn't get that final SCV, but did get some good knowledge there. What will Bomber follow this up with? We see a hatch down for July at the expansion. We see the speed coming up. Is he getting a second queen? Indeed, it is over halfway done.
And a little bit of a mistake there by July. Should have gone towards that gas. Oh, look at that. Bomber having an idle mule on his SCV line. Then it did manage to die off. A bit of a mistake there by Bomber, but the mistake from July was that he didn't scout for that gas. And now that factory is up. And it might even be a Cloak Banshee from here. We'll have to see if he does do that. And meanwhile, we are having the creep spread connecting to the main, to the natural. And then this queen moving down there, getting ready to lava inject as that natural finishes.
Yeah, it looks like that natural expansion hatch is going down. No extra tech from July, but now is getting that gas with 3 drones in it. And now we see, oh, it looks like an early tech lab. Bomber might just be going for a pretty normal Terran versus Zerg style at this point in time. July not going to do anything too out of the ordinary, and I'm really excited to see that Bomber is going ultra standard. That has always been his strong point in my eyes. These cute builds cost him the series against Moon.
Yeah, and I think Bomber's going to go ahead and get the Siege Tech now. And the reason for this is he could have well gone for Cloak Banshees, but he wants to play, as you said, a more stabilized, more macro-orientated style in this game. And the way he lost versus Moon, I think he took a few notes from those games and is going to make sure to get that Siege Tech out there ASAP so that he doesn't lose to some form of 2-base bailing aggression.
Yeah, and there's the scan. Oh, Bomber is going to get the chance to see absolutely everything. He is getting that very fast stim, and we do see barely ends up seeing that. Roach Warren, July playing this out very smart, and though this might seem potentially like a wasted Roach Warren, this can almost always guarantee a fast third. Never mind, a layer is what's in store for July, and he's getting very fast 4 extractor, likely going to be Mutas.
Yeah, and that Roach Warren is going to be used for a defensive purpose, or it could be very well to pressure a little bit, but there's no way he can pressure against Bomber with these siege tanks, especially as siege mode now is completed. And having them in good positions will nullify any of that, and he would use them in just a defensive manner, I suppose. But he is going to be moving outside of the map. Questionable decision here by July Zerg.
July Zerg looks like he wants to try to just bring the noise back to the opponent. This will allow him to get a little bit of scouting. These Marines will not be able to pick off the Roaches. The tanks might get a few, but keep in mind, with no stim, it's very safe to move out with Roaches as they have the same movement speed as the Marines. It means they will be able to escape relatively unscathed. And look, a little bit of damage is dealt by July. And oh, sneaking to the backside, target firing the mule, and he gets it. Nice. July already doing a little damage and delighted to get the chance to do some damage to those Marines. And what a smart play here by July, getting some free damage when most would have been passive at that point.
And I'm a little bit surprised by Bomber playing a little bit too cautious for my likings. Having 2 siege tanks on the higher ground rather than having 1 on the lower ground, expecting some form of aggression early on, and now losing a mule and a couple of SCVs there. In the meantime, we do have a Spire being researched now or being planted down as well as that burrow upgrade, and that's going to help to deny expansions and to use banelings as well.
Yeah. I mean, the burrow, definitely something that is going to help a lot with all the movement paths on this map. I mean, you can get burrowed banelings late game, even if you just pull the army a little bit to the side. We've seen banelings at this ramp kill off huge numbers of Marines late. There's the hatchery going down right now. That Spire will be coming up. July, I know, loves this map, is extremely good at doing key timing attacks, and we see Bomber starting to scoot his way forward. I doubt that Bomber will be doing any sort of huge attack yet. We'll likely wait for that combat shield, but if he does manage to get into a good position this early, that could be huge.
And the Spire almost finished now, and he has 1,000 gas saved up. We'll be able to get 10 Mulus immediately, but it doesn't look like Bomber's going to be too assertive with his siege tanks and Marines here. And July can easily go ahead and get Mulus now and repel this attack, taking a 3rd base in the bottom right-hand side. And now Bomber still not really looking even to get that macro third. Command Center seems to be spending a lot of resources in his money now. And we'll have to see, will he be able to do any damage with this push that is surely on its way very, very soon.
Dropship heading down the right side. Oh, Bomber unloading. He wants to walk, maybe pick off any units that are on the way here, or in particular an Overlord. We see that now Bomber has control of his high ground. Oh, he's gearing up to push. He has the combat shield done. He is not going to be moving in yet with this. We do see Zerglings at the top left as well. Are there going to be any burrowed Banelings throughout here? We see only Mutalisk getting produced at this point, and a counterattack. July slips right in.
And these Zerglings do have +1. Take down a siege tank, and Bomber does not care. He's marching down north while a lot of guys pulling all these SCVs off to try and deal with this.
It looks like Bomber wants to go for the base trade, has the drop headed down to the bottom right. We've said counterattack pad is huge on this map, and July really committing to this counter. Oh my gosh, 35 SCVs for 60 drones. It is going to be an elimination race, target firing that key spire. And we also see in the bottom right the dropship working great stimming, picking off all the drones.
And all these drones going down on the natural as well. Drone count is down all the way to 20, but 26 for Bomber. Is he going to be able to defend his natural though?
We see Banelings popping down right now for July. Trying to get them as far forward as he can. Burrowed Banelings. We see turrets going down for Bomber, but in the main, July's Mutalisk numbers are slowly dwindling. Bomber actually rallied on top of the Mutalisks, but I highly doubt that we're going to see Bomber be saving a lot of that for scan. This could be game ending if he just rolls over one of these Banelings. Bomber doing such huge damage. What an insane first match.
Crazy, and a lot of damage inside the main of July. I mean, on the main of Bomber, but now he's moving in here. What does July have to combat this? A handful of Banelings and Lings and Mutas. If he wants to beat this army, he's going to most definitely have to pull back Mutalisk and bring them to help out. Can he defend against this?
It looks like July trying to suck all these units into the Banelings, trying to do the best he can. It looks like siege tanks will be sieging up on the right side, so Bomber will begin working through all of these spine crawlers. Bomber does stabilize, does manage to secure his main. This might be a brilliant tactical decision by Bomber to have gone for this base trade.
And I actually not even sure if these the Banelings don't have speed either. The Baneling nest got cancelled, and this is it. July's going in.
He unburrows the Banelings, but the lift at the last second. But here, this is all the units. July needs to keep these Mutalisks alive, and it looks like Bomber trying to go for a target fire, but no, he does not manage to pick off those remaining Mutalisks. There are 5 still on the screen, and we see Bomber reorienting all of his structures to be able to defend. It is an even food fight. We see 25 SCVs for Bomber.
Finally gets in there. The siege tank is in good position. Could get sniped by a few Mutalisks, but he doesn't really have too much.
There's the pause, please, from Bomber.
And we'll have to see what that is for. But if we look at the current state of the game, I'm looking at the unit tab now. 19 drones versus 27 SCVs at the moment. And Julyzig losing his main, not losing his main, losing his natural, and that third base as well.
Yeah, I mean, really curious to see what ended up happening with that pause. I mean, so important to note that anytime a player requests a pause, the admins will immediately come over and determine what is going on with the situation. I mean, 46 food to 49 food. We're at the 15-minute mark, almost the exact opposite of what we ended up seeing, where in some of the previous matches we saw that Bomber was near max by the 15-minute mark, but I cannot believe how brilliant of a decision that was by Bomber to just go for it. I mean, picking off 2 bases, just such great play.
And I actually panicked a little bit then when I saw the PP. I was like, oh my god, is that GG? And that's the first thing that came into my mind. But it looks like both players are ready to go, and we will be continuing with the game in 5 seconds' time. And
it looks like here we are, resuming into the game. Both players ready.
And
does look like Bomber is in a good
he's in a
spot.
great position at the moment, and Julyzig trying to get his natural back up. He might try to double expand from here. He needs to do something to get back into this, but now that Bomber has stabilized, he can start mining again. If we look at the unit tab, like I said, 27 SCVs versus 20 drones, but 2 orbital commands making a large difference here.
July realizes the position he's in, sending all his drones to mine In fact, desperately needs a third base up. The one saving grace he has is that Bomber is very low on resources. Terran will generally struggle to get additional bases up. That could potentially help him back in, but July going to do the smart play. Going to be burrowing Banelings at the front. Does Bomber see them? He needs to burrow them fast.
Doesn't see them. This could be huge. This could definitely change the game around for July. Bomber turns around, knowing that this could possibly happen. Looking at the energy, natural is 35, main is 51. Now he has enough for a scan. Is he going to scan up there? How smart is Bomber? Is he going to do it? It's all about this.
Oh, and he sees her at the top of the ramp, so he manages to get to.
But he doesn't get all of them!
Oh, that's exactly what July needed to start to get back into this game. July is going to delay attacks by Bomber again and again by simply burrowing Banelings. And now, immediately, Bomber knows that the threat is there.
And July Zerg using the map to his advantage. Look at this counterattack he has set up in the middle here. If Bomber does go directly south, he can swing around with this army. And we'll have to see how many. 12 more links are in the making. Will he have enough? And the central fuel hooks are about to finish too. That's going to help out a lot here. But it looks like Bomber slowly edging forward. Wants to start picking off creep tumors and try to get down there to capitalize on his advantage. 94 food versus 71 of July's.
Now this is an interesting position for Bomber, actually leaving a barracks there so that way he can completely re-wall himself off. Bomber looks like he's going for another suicide play. Are there any Banelings here? No, none are there. July now with those 5 Mutals, and it looks like, oh, did July even see that there is a huge force swinging in from the left?
Don't know, I'm not really sure, but he will now as he comes onto the creep, stimming a little bit, only just sees these creep tumors, will be able to take them down though, but look at July's units, he has a lot of links here, and in he comes.
Oh, he's trying to get before the tanks arrive, but will he have enough Banelings? He gets a few Marines, but no, the tank count ridiculously high. Did he manage to pick off enough Marines? Well, he did get the tanks.
Absolutely incredible accuracy with his mouse there, sniping those Banelings, but has to retreat. He does not have any siege tanks here, and a lot more links and Banelings in production, as you can see, 28 and 16 Banelings, and once again is retreating back. I'm going to go ahead and build that third command center so we can easily take it, and you can see on the right hand side we do have a drop going down, and this is to pressure the third base that Bomber thinks July will most likely have, but as you can see there is not one.
There's that third command center you were talking about. Notice trying to gear up to take this right base, and oh, Mutalist getting taken down by Bomber. Can he get these burrowed Banelings into the good position? And it looks like, oh, July trying to swing in from behind. Ooh, moving in at an awkward angle. Most of the Banelings are dead, but it looks like these two will manage to take out a lot of those Marines.
And a drop is going into the main base of July. How much damage can they do if he can snipe the Baneling nest? That would be incredible. Is he going to stim up? Oh.
And good game. July losing game 1. And you know what? Bomber doing the exact style that you and I both hope. Nice and standard, not doing any deviation that could cause him a loss, like with those Hellions. We even saw him almost lose with the Banshees against Mood. An incredibly solid tactical game by Bomber.
And great stability there by Bomber to kind of keep cool under the pressure to defend that base while under a lot of threat. Though July's making awesome use of Baneling bombs, really bringing him back into the game many times. I think that if he hadn't have done that, he could have lost or would have lost a lot earlier than he did then. But we are going into the second game very shortly. July Zerg down 1 versus Bomber, and the next map is going to be on the most used map of the tournament so far, Metalopolis.
Interestingly, Metalopolis becoming more popular than Zelnaga Caverns. Players really loving the extreme ease of taking the third